Hey guys, welcome back to the sports stuff video. Today we were doing my mock draft 4.0 post college football playoffs. So this is now, we now know the national championship. So we now know the national champs are the Ohio State Buckeyes. Good job on the Buckeyes. I'm gonna be going over, the playoffs, guys that you might get in the first round. But this is not gonna be a traditional mock draft. This is going to be a no trades and just how I'm feeling that there's a chance. Like, it's gonna be different, right? It's not gonna be all right. It's not a guarantee Cam Ward goes 1. It's not a guarantee Shador goes 2. It's not a guarantee Abdul Carter goes 3. Like, we're gonna break it up a little bit and do things that are a little abnormal. So maybe this is gonna be called the abnormal mock draft. So let's get into the video. Again, obviously, this is not what I think is truly gonna happen, but I think this is one of the possibilities that could happen if a certain thing goes a certain way. So, start off number 1, the Tennessee Titans. There's a report today in the last week as well that they're going to be taking the best player available, right? They said we are not going to pass up on a generational talent at number 1 if we think generational talent is there. They've also said that Will Levis is going to compete for 2025 starter. So that tells me that there's a chance they don't go quarterback. They don't go Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, whichever one they like more. So I'm going to be going Abdul Carter. Because if I am a fan and I'm someone who, intakes draft process and draft stock, and I hear the GM of the Tennessee Titans in his first opening press conference say, listen, if we think a generational player is there, we're going to take him at 1. And to be honest with you, I don't see Cam Ward or Shador Sanders as a generational player, but I do see a guy like Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter at the top of their positions respectively. I think Abdul Carter makes a little bit more sense for them, though. Get that premier number 1 pass rusher. I mean, Abdul Carter's a beast. He had one arm in that semifinal game, and he still was able to manage to destroy the Notre Dame offensive line. Like, all game, he was killing it. And, of course, Drew Aller just ruined it. But, yeah, Abdul Carter going number 1. If this, again, abnormal. This is not going to be a guaranteed quarterback. If they're saying that Will Levis is going to be able to compete for the starting quarterback next year, and they're saying they're not going to pass up on generational talent, I think there is a chance that Abdul Carter does go number 1. And this then opens up the Cleveland Browns to go Cam Ward number 2. So now, instead of, let's say, Cam Ward going number 1 and the Browns having number 2 opportunity to either take Shador Sanders or trade down with the Giants, the Raiders, the Jets, the Saints, like, instead of the opportunity of us trading down because, maybe the Browns like Cam Ward more than Shador Sanders, they can now take the guy that they believe in Cam Ward. So they're going to go Cam Ward at number 2. Browns find their quarterback of the future. Number 3, the Giants, they now don't have to trade up for Shador Sanders. They get to keep all their draft stock. They get to keep all these picks and build around Shador Sanders for the future. So Shador Sanders can then go number 3. So now the Raiders, the Jets, and the Saints have to pivot, right? Now they have to be like, all right, these veteran quarterbacks that we signed in the offseason, we have to, run with them in the next season. Or even we don't have to go get a guy off the street, right? Maybe Daniel Jones hasn't signed yet. Maybe he was kind of waiting to see where the quarterbacks go so he can guarantee himself a starting job next year. Same with Sam Darnold. So yeah, I mean, if this is how it could start out, I mean, this is gonna mess up multiple teams because if Abdul Carter goes number 1, the Browns will not trade out and they will take a quarterback. If a quarterback goes number 1, the Browns absolutely will trade out and get the most value they can. But for the Browns, their roster is good. And for the Giants, they need a quarterback. Like, this right here means no one is trading out of the top 3. So now all these other teams that are hoping their team is willing to trade out has to move on. Then at number 4, I think that the Patriots will take Travis Hunter. I think Mike Vrabel would love a Travis Hunter type of player. Someone who has versatility, good defender, good offensive weapon as well. Again, as I've been saying, I think Travis Hunter, his first couple of years in the season, will average about 40 plays on defense and 15 plays on offense. That is, usually it's 60 plays evenly is what, most games are. It's 120 plays total. So I think Travis Hunter will play about 60 total. Instead of, 120 total, playing 60 on both. He'll get 40 on defense. I do think he's a better defender than wide receiver. And then another 20 on offense, where it's, red zone, get a first down. Just, he'll probably get 20 plays, 8 targets, 4 catches a game, right? Something that still shows that he's playing the field, but on defense is where most of his energy is going to go. I think the Patriots would definitely need a guy like that. Then the Jaguars, Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter now not available. I think Mason Graham makes the most sense for them. Their secondary, yes, could use some help, but I think their defensive line needs the most help. Trayvon Walker, Devon Hamilton, Josh Hines Allen, Like, Devon Hamilton really isn't that good. I think Mason Graham is a blue chip #1 D tackle in the league prospect. Like, he's that good. He's that good day one. I think he can start day one and completely change your defensive line day one. Pair him up with 2 good pass rushers. Josh Hines Allen, one of the best in the league in my opinion. And then Trevon Walker, who has multiple years in a row put up better stats every year. I like that defensive line now. And then Liam Cohn now has a defensive line for the future. Then for the Raiders at number 6, again, they can't grab a quarterback. They're going to have to go with a veteran. So why not fix your secondary and grab Will Johnson? I think Pete Carroll, he needs a lockdown #1 corner, right? He's never gone long without a #1 lockdown corner. Whether it was Richard Sherman, whether it was Shaquille Griffin when he was, in his prime, Will Johnson, I think, can be that guy. Back-to-back Michigan guys. We now have had 2 Colorado and 2 Michigan players in the top 6. That's something that could realistically happen, where Pete Carroll, new head coach of the Raiders, needs his lockdown corner. The Raiders don't really have that. They have a lot of okay guys, right? Nate Hobbs, Jack Jones. But I think Will Johnson comes in and solidifies that cornerback #1 spot. Man cover, zone cover, really good guy, really good press man coverage. I would love to see Will Johnson in Las Vegas with Pete Carroll. Then at number 7, with the Jets, I think they'll grab Will Campbell in this situation, right? You say, you know what? Whatever. We've seen that Olu Fashanu has really hit, right? In the time that he's played this year, he's been a really good left tackle. Grab Will Campbell, right? Whether it's right tackle or left guard or wherever you want to put him, grab a blue chip offensive lineman, whether you think he's a little undersized so he plays guard, or you think he'll be able to make in the NFL at tackle. Whatever your opinion of Will Campbell is, he is, in my opinion, the best offensive lineman in this class. Whether it comes to pulling for the run game, getting to the second level, stopping the stunts of the defensive line in pass protection, I think Will Campbell is the #1 offensive lineman in this class still. While Kelvin Banks is right there behind him, I think Will Campbell's just a notch above him. And the Jets want to, grab a tackle, and whatever quarterback you have back there, whether it's a veteran, now that you have Aaron Glenn as the head coach, whatever you want to do at quarterback, protect that tackle, but protect him with a good tackle. And then you have him and Olu Fashanu. That's a great tackle pairing, because I do think Will Campbell can play tackle in the NFL. Put him at right tackle, so he's not the blind side protector. Have Olu Fashanu at left tackle, and Will Campbell. That is one heck of a pairing at tackle, back-to-back drafts, man. Then at number 8, the Panthers. I'm gonna grab James Pierce Jr. I've never really believed in the James Pierce, hype die down. Right, there was a time where James Pierce was. Let me actually see, trends. Yeah, see right over here. This is what I remember, the 10, 11. Like, look at that. They were having him going at 37, 32, 32, 32, 31, 29. I never believed this. I always saw James Pierce as like a top 15 prospect. And the last month of the season, he played really well. That Ohio State game, man, truly that Tennessee-Ohio State game, I'm like, oh, James Pierce still has it, right? Like, because I didn't watch a lot of Tennessee this year. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch 10 games of Tennessee. I watched a game or two. Like, I think I watched the Ohio State game. I think I watched the Oklahoma game as well. But James Pierce, every time I watch, I'm like, oh, James Pierce is still active. He's still in the trenches, still trying to, win every snap. And he's getting to the quarterback. And I think James Pierce in Carolina, get yourself a true dominant edge rusher. You trade Brian Burns, get James Pierce the year later to really shore up that defensive line. Then at number 9, I think the Saints, they go wide receiver, but they're not going to go who you think. No, I'm joking. They're going Ted McMillan, right? You have Chris Olave to be that true boundary wide receiver. And I think Ted McMillan, while he's not great at separating with speed, he's good at separating with route running, right? Chris Olave, good route runner and good speed. Ted McMillan is more a route runner, right? So now you have Chris Olave, Ted McMillan, and Rashid Shaheed for your quarterback. So if you're not going to be able to grab one of the best quarterbacks in the class of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, why not just build up your weapons for Spencer Rattler / whoever else you want to sign, right? That way, you have the best weapon room possible for your quarterback. Kind of what Seattle was doing. They had Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Noah Fant, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and then they drafted JSN, right? They now have 3 really good wide receivers, a solid tight end, and a good running back room for Geno Smith, who we can all agree is not a top 10 quarterback, right? He's a starter level quarterback, not top 10. Why not do that in New Orleans, right? build the offensive line, build the wide receiver and running back core. So your quarterback, whether it's Spencer Rattler in a year or two, or whatever quarterback you get in a year or two, can then come into a situation that is primed to win then. That's what I would do. So Ted McMillan can be the wide receiver 2 for you in New Orleans. Then at number 10 for Chicago, I am going to go Kelvin Banks Jr. Again, another guy, tackle, guard, whatever. And when it comes to the Chicago Bears, they just need offensive line. So they drafted the tackle a year or two ago. I'm blanking on his name. It's really frustrating. It was in 2023. They drafted a tackle who, was it Wright? I think it was Wright. I think it was B. Wright was his name. I cannot remember his name though. But he played. They sent him wide receiver training, and he did wide receiver training as a tackle. So he's very athletic. I think Kelvin Banks, big body, but he's also athletic. Whether it's guard or tackle, let him come. He starts day one. Done. Congratulations to building up your offensive line under new head coach Ben Johnson, because that's what you need to do. Protect Caleb Williams. Kelvin Banks, wide body, help protect Caleb Williams. Then at number 11, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to shore up their secondary, right? Whether it's Charvarius Ward leaving, whether it's Talanoa Hufanga constantly being injured, and then you have Jimmy Ward back there as a second safety. I'm going to grab Malachi Starks. I know they did have a 4th or 5th round safety, I believe, playing safety this past season. And it wasn't, I think, Jair Brown. I think it's Jair Brown, if I'm not mistaken. But Malachi Starks is head and shoulders better than Jair Brown, if that is who I'm thinking of. Him, Hufanga, even if you want to run a three-man safety group, right? Maybe move Jair Brown to nickel corner, or you move Hufanga into strong safety, linebacker hybrid. Malachi Starks to be that true deep free safety. I'm very high on Malachi Starks as a deep safety, and I think he's going to go in the top 15 of the picks. Then at number 12, with the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to go wide receiver. Yes, Ashton Jeanty's right there, and that's something that's very intriguing. But we have seen that they're able to make a competent, okay run game, but they can't make a good, competent wide receiver room. So I'm going to grab Emeka Egbuka. Yes, I did not grab Luther Burden. I think Luther Burden is an outside receiver. They already have CeeDee Lamb. Get Emeka Egbuka, right? Get someone who can play the slot receiver, play a power slot receiver, and just feast. Feast. Like 6'1", 205. He's not no 5'10", 180 receiver. He's a big body, power slot receiver who can kick it outside if you need him to, but have CeeDee Lamb as the X, then on his right have Emeka Egbuka, then on his right the left tackle. Have a power slot to the left game, dude. Like, how are they going to block that? How are they going to stop Emeka Egbuka coming across the middle and CeeDee Lamb doing a post route right behind him? They're not going to, right? Get Dak Prescott / Cooper Rush, whoever the quarterback is, under new head coach Brian Schottenheimer. Get him as much weapons as possible. I'm grabbing Emeka Egbuka at number 12. If this is the way the board is falling. Then at number 13 for the Dolphins, I'm going to grab Josh Simmons. Same thing. I think Josh Simmons can play tackle or guard. 6'5", 310. Obviously, he played left tackle this past season before getting injured to where after that, I forgot his name. The other, Donovan Jackson. That's why Donovan Jackson replaced him at left tackle after he got injured. I still think Josh Simmons is one of the best tackles in this class. Obviously, I have him rated as number 3. So I have Kelvin Banks above him. But I like Josh Simmons' athletic build and his ability. Again, 6'5", 310. I think he'd easily kick it in the guard. Because you do have Teron Armstead, and then you have your right tackle as well, which again, a name I'm blanking on. I hate when I do this. I remember names so well until the minute I click record. But Josh Simmons, whether he's the future at left tackle, or you put him at left guard day one, and you move on from Robert Hunt, that can also be an opportunity. But I think Josh Simmons will fight day one to start. You got the wide receivers, you got the tight end and the running backs, you got the quarterback that you believe in. Now let's build an offensive line that you can really compete with. Your defense, it's not horrible. I really don't think they have a bad defense. I think it's just been really injured the last year or two. So again, offensive line to protect Tua and continue to invest in the run game as well. Then at 14 with the Colts, I'm going to grab Tyler Warren. Yes, they have other needs. I think edge rusher is definitely a need of theirs. But this class is so deep at edge and DB. I think Tyler Warren in the first round is just head and shoulders above everyone else at tight ends. I do like Colston Loveland. I do like Harold Fannin. I do like Gunnar Helm. And I do like Mitchell Evans. I do like Bryson Nesbitt and Luke Lockey. Like, there's other guys I like. But Tyler Warren is the one that I think could be an all-pro like Brock Bowers was this past year. I don't think he's going to have a season like Brock Bowers. Right? I don't think he's going to break all the records. But he can have a 80-catch, 1,000-yard season year one. Right? Get Anthony Richardson, someone who can catch in the middle of the field and block really well. That's Tyler Warren. At 15, with the Falcons, I'm going to grab Mike Green from Marshall. I will admit, I'm not watched a lot of film of his, so I don't want to say, oh yeah, I knew this before everyone else. No, I still don't. I've not watched a lot of film of his. But of everyone that I respect when it comes to mock drafts, they're all saying Mike Green is a first round pick. 6'4", 250. I'm just believing guys that I respect. There have been guys in the past that I didn't really like that they did like that went in the first round and been really good. Like, there's multiple guys. I don't want to name them because in the last 5-6 years, there's just guys I'm like, I don't think they're a first round pick. I don't think they'll make it in the NFL. And boom, they made it in the NFL. So I'm going to believe them, right? Mike Green is one of those guys that they're saying could be a really good edge rusher at the NFL. I haven't watched a lot of film on him. I know the Falcons need edge rush help, right? They traded for an edge rusher from the Patriots, Matthew Judon, before the season started to try and get more pass rush help. They drafted Braylon Trace from Washington. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL before the season started. So they're getting Braylon Trace back. Grab Mike Green, who everyone I respect is saying is going to be a really good power rusher. That's what I'm going to go with at 15. Then at 16, I am double dipping at defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals last year, I believe they're the ones that drafted our lads Cardinals. If I'm not mistaken, they're the ones that drafted... Oh, what is his name? Darius Robinson. Yeah, Darius Robinson to be a defensive end in the 3-4 scheme. I think Kenneth Grant could be that true nose tackle, right? Right now, you have Roy Lopez playing nose tackle. I think you can easily get Kenneth Grant to be that nose tackle for you. So, moving on. Again, really good run defender. He's not a great pass rusher, but he's a very good run defender. Have him at nose tackle at 6'3". That's what I would do if I was them. Yeah, that feels good. That feels good. Then at number 17 for the Bengals, this is where Ashton Jeanty's slide stops, right? I think there is a possibility the Browns go Ashton Jeanty if they slide back from 2, and Abdul Carter is gone, Mason Graham is gone, Will Campbell is gone. I think there's a very high chance Ashton Jeanty does go to the Browns. But in this situation, I think there's just other positions that make more sense. The Bengals, yes, you saw the emergence of Chase Brown, but imagine Ashton Jeanty in this offense, right? Imagine once you lose T. Higgins, leaning more into the run game, still having Jamar Chase get those 100 catches a year, but lean more into the run game, have Ashton Jeanty and Chase Brown as your 1-2, and the solid offensive line. Again, it did get better as the year went on. Like, they started off poor, but as the year went on, they got better. Grab Ashton Jeanty, reinvest in the run game, slow down the team, because the issue with the Bengals, they would score so quickly because they have really good wide receivers that their defense, a bad defense, yes, but their defense is always tired, right? It was always tired because they were on the field so much because, Joe Burrow would throw a 80-yard touchdown to Jamar Chase twice a game. So, Ashton Jeanty, grab the running back, slow your offense down, get back into the run game, and then let your defense have a little bit more rest. Then at number 18, the Seattle Seahawks, I am going to grab a corner in Benjamin Morrison. Honestly, he was hurt the entire season, I believe. No, most of the season. He was hurt most of the season. Benjamin Morrison was a fringe top 10 pick before injury, then got injured and just, got outplayed by Travis Hunter. And did I grab another corner? Am I dumb? Am I being dumb? Will Johnson. Yeah, Will Johnson is what I'm thinking of. Honestly, Travis Hunter and Will Johnson outplayed him throughout the season. But I think Benjamin Morrison, if he stayed healthy, would be a top 10, top 15 guy. So the Seahawks get a little bit of value, get him at 18. Again, true outside boundary corner. This then frees up, not Christian Gonzalez. Wow. This is what I'm saying, man. He was the corner drafted last year. I can't remember his name, and it's very annoying. Devin Witherspoon. Frees up Devin Witherspoon to be that rover corner, the oversized rover corner. And as you see, Tariq Woolen, right here. You then have Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, and Benjamin Morrison as your corners. That is an elite corner trio. That is an elite rookie contract corner trio, dude. That'd be insane. Then at number 19, I had the Buccaneers going Jack Sawyer. Yes, I do have Jack Sawyer officially over Michael Williams on my board. Jack Sawyer, he had an amazing playoff run. Like, I'm ignoring the Notre Dame game, but he had an amazing playoff run, dude. I truly think he was one of the best pass rushers after Abdul Carter in the playoffs that were coming into the draft. I thought he had the best offseason, best postseason. Again, after Abdul Carter, of guys that were draft worthy. He showed up in the biggest moments. He won Ohio State, that Texas game. He called game. He said, no, we're winning this thing. Stripped him and went for a touchdown. Like, Jack Sawyer got pressured inconsistently. Great run stuffer as well. I'm going Jack Sawyer at 19. The Buccaneers need to reinvest in their defensive line because their defense, they're getting no pressure, right? Vita Vea has really fallen off because he doesn't have Shaq Barrett. He doesn't have Levante David of old. He doesn't, Joe Tryon-Shanka still hasn't really developed. I'm going Jack Sawyer at 19 to help the Buccaneers rebuild this defensive line because, man, it's rough. It's very rough. Then at number 20, I'm going to go with the Broncos grabbing Luther Burden. I think he's a Cortland Sutton type of player. Really good route runner, good deep threat, 5'11", 208, only 21 years old. Amazing against man coverage. I just think that Luther Burden, if you said high-end Cortland Sutton, the Broncos would love that. Like, Cortland Sutton, 1,000-yard receiver, like 10 touchdowns this past season. If you can say you have two Cortland Suttons and the rotation of young guys that they have, whether it's Marvin Mims, Tez Johnson, like, it doesn't matter. They have a bunch of wide receivers that can be wide receiver threes. They can rotate in and out. They have 4 wide receivers out there. But Luther Burden and Cortland Sutton are their boundary corners. Bo Nix would love that. He'd love that. Then number 21, I do see a little run on wide receiver happening. I'm going to go Matthew Golden for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A true deep threat, man. This is a true deep threat. This past season, 17 yards per reception. You want to know who had 17 yards per reception last? Brian Thomas Jr. Great deep threat, 9 touchdowns. Also, 6 foot 195. He's a little bit on the scrawnier side, but I think Matthew Golden, he's really good. I still like Isaiah Bonds. I still like Isaiah Bonds as an outside receiver as well. But I just think you have George Pickens to be that, more. You need to throw George Pickens more, is what I'm trying to say. You have Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, and Matthew Golden can be that true deep threat. And you can even sign or trade for someone. Again, they tried trading for Christian Kirk at the trade deadline before he got injured. So maybe do trade for Christian Kirk still. You then have Christian Kirk as your slot receiver with George Pickens and Matthew Golden on the outside. That'd be really good for the Steelers. They are talking about re-signing Russ to a multi-year deal. So I did not go quarterback. I decided against it and said, you know what? Let's go wide receiver because they obviously signed Mike Williams. They traded for Mike Williams, actually, sorry. They were trying to get more wide receivers for Russ, so I think they need to reinvest in that and grab another wide receiver in the first round who can truly be a true deep threat for them. Then at number 22 with the Chargers, again, they see the run of wide receivers coming, and they go, whoa, let's grab our guy, and Elic Enyumanor. Let's grab him. Come on. Another good, solid deep threat option, 6'2", 210. I do like Matthew Golden a little more than Elic Enyumanor. Aguimanor. God, I don't know why I'm struggling with that name so much. Elic. I'm just going to call him Elic. As you can see, really good career so far the last 2 years. I do think that, he wouldn't go in the first round if Matthew Golden didn't go, right? Luther Burden, Emeka Buka, and Ted McMillan. Those are the 3 guys we all agree are going in the first round. So I don't think the Chargers grab Elic Enyumanor unless Matthew Golden goes right after Luther Burden. Like, if this type of run happens, I think the Chargers need to say, all right, let's get another wide receiver. We have Quentin Johnson on the outside who did get better this year. Still struggles with drops a little bit, but, he's improving. You then have Ladder McConkey to be your, consistent chain mover. Grabbing Elic Enyumanor who can be your true deep threat and a big play machine. Again, I don't think they would go Elic Enyumanor. I think they would go running back. They would go edge rusher. But because the run on wide receiver happens early, they try and grab a guy that they like. I do think they would like an Elic Enyumanor on this team specifically for the role of being a deep threat, big play merchant. Then at number 23, I'm going to grab Mykel Williams from Georgia to the Green Bay Packers. I think that's something they were missing, another pass rusher that can really help them. They traded Preston Smith midseason, and then Rashawn Gary just kind of stopped playing. He stopped playing good. So Mykel Williams, again, really good run defender, but I do think he get better as a pass rusher, obviously. But he's 6'5", 265, not even 21 years old. Like, he's very young, can still grow and develop. And I like the traits he already shows as an aggressive run defender. And then, again, get better as a pass rusher. At number 24, the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to grab Omarion Hampton. I don't think they re-sign Aaron Jones. I think they're going to go younger and younger and younger every year. And, obviously you have JJ McCarthy because I don't see them re-signing Sam Darnold. I just don't see it happening. You have JJ McCarthy coming in to be the quarterback. Grab it, Omarion Hampton, right? A first-round talent at running back. If Ashton Jeanty didn't exist, he would be my running back number 1. back-to-back years of just star-studded play. 6 yards per carry, 30 touchdowns total, and he's also a receiving threat. Really good in post contact. As you can see, 1,200 yards after contact. That means only 400 of his yards he got stopped on. 1,200 yards after contact. I love that. And 26 carries of 15 plus yards. Big play machine. Omarion Hampton in Minnesota with JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. They would be building one of the best young weapon core in the NFL. And again, they still have a good offensive line, right? It's not a bad offensive line, but Omarion Hampton, man, it wouldn't matter if they had a bad offensive line. He'd make plays happen by himself. Then at number 25, with the Houston Texans, I am going to grab Armand Membo, Missouri tackle. Again, they're saying he's moving the guard, which is fine. I think it's A-okay for him to move the guard because the Kenyon Green experience has to be over. He single-handedly ruined the season for the Houston Texans, right? Honestly, our man plays right tackle, but I think he moves to the right guard in the NFL. Replace Kenyon Green immediately, and Armand Membo, great pass protector, good run defender. Like I said earlier with Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell, if they play guard, they'd be really good at pulling, good at getting to the second level as well. Armand Membo, just start building this line for C.J. Stroud, because I believe C.J. Stroud was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this last season. That can't happen again. It can't happen again. It got Bobby Slowick fired, so grab Armand Membo, get that offensive line fixed, because you're not close enough to a Super Bowl to be grabbing a wide receiver right now. You're not. You're just not. Next, at number 26, the Rams are doing something that no one is going to like. They're going quarterback Jalen Milroe. Listen, I understand all the hate that's about to happen. Sean McVay obviously likes the pocket passer. From Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford, that is the most pocket passing quarterback trade you could have done. But if Sean McVay is one thing, it is innovative. I think he has seen the curve around the hill that dual threat quarterbacks are the future, and we have to accept it. I think Jalen Milroe, you can draft in the first round, let him sit for a year or two behind Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford is saying he's coming back next year. So draft Jalen Milroe, teach him the playbook, and say, Jalen, we want you to be a good passer, but we also want to lean on your legs a little bit. I want to see exactly what Washington is doing wherever Jalen Milroe lands up. Wherever. I want him to be a passer first who can rely on his legs if he doesn't trust his eyes. That's what I want to see. And there's no offensive mind in the NFL I trust more to develop Jalen Milroe properly than Sean Mother effing McVay in Los Angeles. Puka, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, good offensive line. Put Jalen Milroe back there. They're winning 10 games. Like, that's his rookie season. I think Jalen Milroe easily develops into a really good player underneath Sean McVay. And I think everyone watching this video can agree. If Jalen Milroe does get drafted in the first round by the Rams, it's going to be an issue in 2-3 years. Then at number 27, I think the Ravens need to grab a corner. I think it's going to be Jahdae Barron from Texas. This dude's elite. He's just elite. Like, I don't care. I'm done talking about it. He is elite. He is one of my favorite corners in this draft. This is a very deep draft when it comes to corner, offensive line, and defensive line. Those are where it's deepest. But Jahdae Barron is a top 4, top 5 corner, true lockdown number 1. We've seen the Ravens struggle at stopping the pass. Their defense is slipping every year. Grab Jahdae Barron, lock down your wide receiver 1, and let Marlon Humphrey and everyone else figure everything else out. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Baltimore Ravens. Then number 28, I am going to be grabbing Nick Scarton from Texas A&M to the Detroit Lions. Again, Nick Scarton, I really like him. I just think he slipped, right? I think that's all it is. As the season went on, he didn't play as well. But Nick Scarton, I think, can be a really good pass rusher in the NFL. And the Lions, they don't need Nick Scarton to start day 1, but he's going to be in the rotation day 1. They honestly have Zadarius Smith. They have Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury and a good rotation of edge rushers. They can ease Nick Scarton into the starting lineup and not need him to play day 1. I think that's going to be able to help Nick Scarton get better as a pass rusher. Then number 29, I'm going to be grabbing with the Washington Commanders, Jaden Higgins. Listen. I will say it. I think Jaden Higgins, if I remember, I believe he's at the Senior Bowl. Jaden Higgins, Senior Bowl. I believe he's at the Senior Bowl. Yes, he is at the Senior Bowl. I think Jaden Higgins, after the Senior Bowl and after the Combine, will be a first-round pick. Why? He's a 6'4", 215 X-receiver who is amazing. He's amazing. He is amazing. Great deep threat, great route running. He is one of my favorite wide receivers in this class. Jaden Higgins, Jack Beck, Jalen Royals, Trey Harris, Nick Nash, Jalen Knoll, Pat Bryant, Theo Weiss. Like, these are guys that can play real, meaningful minutes day one. And Jaden Higgins, I think he'd be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. I will stamp it right now. I'm stamping my desk. Jaden Higgins can be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL, and I think he's the exact type of receiver that Jaden Daniels would love. A big body, big catch radius, big play machine. Big, big, big. I love Jaden Higgins, and I'm telling you now, post-Senior Bowl and post-Combine, he's going to run a really fast 40, like a 4.41, 4.40 flat, but he doesn't use his speed to get open. Right? He uses it to get leverage, and then he uses his big catch radius to get separation. I love Jaden Higgins. I think the Commanders need another outside receiver. You know, they traded away Jahan Dotson, which I didn't like. I didn't like them trading away Jahan Dotson. But Jaden Higgins can be that replacement, and they need another wide receiver. It can't all be Terry McLaurin and a bunch of no-names. I'm going Jaden Higgins, man. I truly believe he can be great in the NFL. I love Jaden Higgins. Then number 30 with the Buffalo Bills, I am going to go defensive line. I'm going to go Walter Nolan. I think Walter Nolan, exact same story. I think he's going to end up being a first-round pick. Obviously, there's a lot of really good D tackles, right, at this point in the draft. You have Tyleik Williams, TJ Saunders, Omen Norman Lott, Deion Walker, Derek Harmon, Alfred Collins. All those guys I really like. But I think Walter Nolan's going to end up being the best of all of them. I think coming out of the draft, he's going to test really well. From all the interviews that I've watched of Walter Nolan, he's very articulate as well with how he speaks. He's very intelligent. So I'm going to go Walter Nolan at number 30 for the Buffalo Bills. Then number 31 with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to grab another outside corner. I think that's something that is really hindering them right now. Yes, I think offensive line is also an issue. I wanted to make sure I say that. But I think they're planning for the future. Darius Slay is already saying he might retire. Grab Siobhan Revel. Let's grab the best outside corner at this point. Again, another dude, because of injury, is slipping. In 3 games, had 2 interceptions. He was on his way to have a great season. But just injuries got him, man. Injuries got him. But, you know, it's like the 6th corner I've taken in the first round. And every single one, I think, has a contention for being one of the best corners in this class. Siobhan Revel, great outside boundary corner. Him, Quinion Mitchell for the future with Keely Ringo, Cooper DeJean, like all these different guys coming in and out at nickel corner, but has Siobhan Revel and Quinion Mitchell on outside. Because again, James Bradbury ain't going to be there much longer. Darius Slay ain't going to be there much longer. So start building up the secondary for the future without them. They have a good front 7. You know, the offense is pretty okay. The offensive line, yes, needs a little bit more work, but you can do that later in the draft. There's no guard at this point that I would take. And I think the interior of the offensive line is the issue. They have solid tackles. I think the guard, center and right guard is the issue. So there's no guys right now I would take at 31. So I'm grabbing Siobhan Revel, who I think is the best available player at this point. Then at number 32, I'm going to do a reach. Listen, Harold Fannin Jr. will be a Kansas City Chief in the first round. I don't care what PFF says. I don't care. I don't care what PFF says. Harold Fannin Jr. had like 1,500 yards this past season. Great route runner, great hands, good run blocker as well. Like, he is going to rise up draft boards. They have him as like a 3rd round pick right now. I have him as a 2nd round pick. I think it's a 2nd round pick. But after the combine, after interviews, after more and more time of his hype growing, Harold Fannin Jr. will be a 1st round pick. And there's no team in the last 6 or 7 picks that I think would take a tight end outside of the Chiefs. Tight ends make their system work because they have fast wide receivers, but they use Travis Kelce and they use Noah Gray way more than their wide receivers. And I think Harold Fannin Jr. is the next great tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, this is my abnormal mock draft. It's not what you would think, right? Obviously, no quarterback number 1 overall. Messes with everything else. No one trades out at number 2 or trades up to 2, and the board falls as it goes. You know, you have a runner wide receiver right here towards the end of the first round. Lots of corners, lots of defensive linemen, lots of offensive linemen taken as well. 3 quarterbacks taken with Jalen Milroe sitting behind Matt Stafford for a year or two. I think this is a very fun draft. But if you guys did enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. Again, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is a possibility? Right? If this is how, Abdul Carter goes #1, do you think that something like this could happen? Right? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, please go to the description. Follow me on everything. I'm posting on TikTok pretty consistently. So please, please, please follow me on everything. And I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.